Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an unconventional exploration of ancient philosophical wisdom and its incredible relevance to our modern lives. This isn't your regular philosophy class. No, it's something far more interesting. Today, we'll be exploring the teachings of the legendary Stoics in a rather unusual setting. A bar. That's right. The question we're asking today is, can you be stoic in a bar? As we delve into this peculiar yet intriguing topic, you might be wondering, why a bar? Well, you see, the bar is more than just a place to enjoy a pint or two. It's a microcosm of life, filled with an array of emotions, interactions, and situations. It's a stage where joy, sorrow, stress, relaxation, and a myriad of other human experiences play out. It's also a place where we often encounter stress, and before you know it, you're down a rabbit hole of negative emotions. What if you could find a way out of this? What if, in a place such as this, you could find peace and tranquility? Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches the art of retaining one's composure and serenity, regardless of the circumstances. The Stoics believed that we could not control external events, but we could control our responses to them. This is a philosophy that, if understood and applied, can calm your stress, even in a bustling bar, into tranquility. Our guide for this journey will not be a stereotypical, sober philosopher. Instead, imagine a philosopher who enjoys his wine as much as he loves wisdom. A philosopher who, despite being a little tipsy, maintains his composure and tranquility. That's right. Our tutor for today is not just any philosopher, but a drunk philosopher. As we navigate through the highs and lows of the bar scene, we will lean on the wisdom of this drunk philosopher to understand how the principles of Stoicism can help us confront stress, anxiety, and other negative emotions. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this exceptional piece of narrative we have here, titled Can You Be Stoic in a Bar? Not your everyday topic, is it? We are going to dive into the world of philosophy, specifically Stoicism, in a setting you wouldn't typically associate with deep, contemplative thought, a bar. And no, we aren't talking about a formal lecture in an ancient auditorium, but rather a casual, perhaps slightly tipsy conversation over a pint of beer or a glass of wine. Now, you might be wondering what Stoicism has to do with bars, or with stress for that matter. Well, you're about to find out. But first, let's talk a bit about what Stoicism is. It's a philosophy that encourages us to maintain a level head, to control our emotions, and desires to live a virtuous life. Stoics believe that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Now, imagine applying this philosophy in a bar setting. The bar, as we all know, is a place where emotions can run high. People are there to let loose, to forget their troubles, to celebrate, or simply to enjoy the company of others. It's a place where it's all too easy to get carried away by the moment. to let your emotions take the reins. But what if you could approach it with a Stoic mindset? What if you could maintain your calm, your rationality, even in the midst of all the chaos? This is where our protagonist comes into the picture. Let's call him the drunk philosopher. Now, don't let the name fool you. He may like his wine, but he's also a man of wisdom. And he's here to show us how it's possible to remain stoic, even when surrounded by the merry chaos of a bar. Our drunk philosopher is not a superhero. He's not someone with extraordinary powers. He's just like you and me. He has his stress, his worries, his fears, but he has also learned to handle them in a way that doesn't let them dictate his life. He has found in Stoicism a tool, a guiding principle that helps him navigate through the ups and downs of life without losing his calm. So, how does he do it in the bustling world of a bar, where emotions run high and judgments often blur? It's easy to forget the principles of Stoicism. But what is Stoicism exactly? Stoicism, at its core, is an ancient Greek school of philosophy founded by Zeno of Citium around 300 BC. The philosophy teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions. It asserts that we don't have control over, and therefore should not tie our happiness to external events, but we can control our reactions to these events. In the words of Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. For a Stoic, the focus should always be on how to respond, and not on what happens. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about not allowing our emotions to control us. It encourages us to understand our emotions, find their origins, and then decide if those emotions serve a purpose or not. If they don't, we should attempt to discard them. This philosophy also encourages us to distinguish between what we can change and what we can't, and to focus our energy only on the things we can. It promotes acceptance of the inevitable and the courage to change what can be changed. Now, how does this apply to a bar setting? Imagine you're in a bar and someone spills a drink on you. A non-Stoic might get angry, yell at the person, and let the incident ruin their night. A Stoic, on the other hand, would understand that they can't change the fact that the drink was spilled, but they can control their reaction. They might choose to laugh it off, get cleaned up, and continue enjoying the night. Stoicism also encourages practicing virtue and living according to nature. Virtue, in Stoicism, is understanding and choosing to live according to reason and wisdom. Among the wisest philosophers that have ever graced the earth, there was a man who found his enlightenment not in the libraries or academies, but in the corner of a bar, amidst the humdrum of clinking glasses and amiable banter. We shall refer to him as the drunk philosopher, a man whose cognitive prowess was ignited by the sweet allure of wine and the conviviality of his fellow patrons. The drunk philosopher was not always an enlightened man. He was once like any other patron, lost in the turmoil of his thoughts, seeking refuge in the intoxicating embrace of alcohol. he would often find himself overwhelmed by the burden of his problems, the stress of daily life, and the existential dread that often accompanies the human condition. But one day, as he sat at his usual spot, a glass of wine in his hand, he noticed something peculiar. He observed that the very same problems that plagued him during the day seemed insignificant as he sat in the bar. His anxiety drifted away, his worries dissipated, and he was left with a sense of calm and tranquility. This realization led him to question why he felt so at peace in the bar, and so distressed outside it. Determined to understand the phenomena, he began to study the patrons around him. He saw people from various walks of life: the weary businessman, the boisterous student, and the solitary writer, all of them finding solace in the sanctuary of the bar, despite the stresses and worries of their lives. They seemed at peace here, sharing stories, laughs, and sometimes even tears. This led him towards the philosophy of Stoicism. He realized that, just like the patrons, he too had the power to change his perception of the world around him. He understood that the bar was not altering the reality of his problems, but was merely providing a different perspective. He learned that he could control his reactions to external events and, in doing so, could transform his own reality. The drunk philosopher began to apply this Stoic perspective to his life outside the bar. Instead of being overwhelmed by stress, he saw it as a natural part of life, something to be understood and accepted rather than feared. He realized that he could not control the world around him, but he could control his reaction to it. His problems didn't disappear, but his perception of them changed dramatically. Picture this: it's Friday evening. You're sat in a busy bar. The noise levels are high, the lights are dim, and the place is packed. You've just finished a long week at work, and you're trying to unwind. It's not as relaxing as you'd hoped, though, due to that loud group in the corner, or that obnoxious drunk guy next to you. Stress is mounting, but you remember, you've been learning about Stoicism. The question is, how do you apply Stoic philosophy in this setting? First and foremost, let's consider the essence of Stoicism. It's a philosophy built on the belief that, while we cannot control all external events, we can control our responses and attitudes towards them. It encourages us to separate things into two categories: those within our control and those outside of our control. A rowdy bar certainly seems like the latter, but Stoicism can help us navigate this situation with grace. The loud group in the corner? They're outside of your control. The obnoxious drunk guy? Also outside of your control. What you can control, however, is your reaction to these external factors. Instead of letting their behavior stress you out, you can choose to accept it as part of the bar experience and focus on enjoying your evening. This brings us to the Stoic concept of amor fati, or love of fate. This principle doesn't just ask you to accept your circumstances, but to embrace them. Yes, the bar is noisy and crowded, but can you find joy in that environment? Can you appreciate the lively atmosphere, the diversity of people, the buzz of conversation, the taste of your drink? Marcus Aurelius, a famous Stoic philosopher, and Roman emperor, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This quote can be interpreted as an encouragement to turn obstacles into opportunities. That noisy group, they could be a source of entertainment. Observe their dynamics, their laughter, their camaraderie. That obnoxious drunk guy, he could serve as a reminder of the importance of moderation and self-control. Another Stoic principle that can be applied here is premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This involves visualizing potential negative scenarios and preparing for them mentally. Stoicism, a philosophy founded in ancient Greece, is a practical guide that assists us in navigating the waves of life. The crux of Stoicism lies in differentiating elements within our control from those outside of it. Everything external to us, an annoying barfly, the loud music, the crowded dance floor, is not within our control. They are simply elements of the world that we must accept and deal with. On the other hand, our internal world, our thoughts, feelings, and reactions is under our control. How we respond to the external world is entirely up to us. This is where Stoicism becomes an essential tool in transforming stress. Let's imagine a scenario. You're in a bar. The music is too loud. People are rowdy. And the barkeep is taking forever to serve your drink. You feel the stress building up, your patience dwindling. But remember, the noise, the people, the slow service, these are external elements beyond your control. The only thing you can control is your reaction to them. Stoicism would suggest you take a deep breath, acknowledge the situation, and then let it go, rather than allowing the external chaos to ruffle your inner peace. Accept it as part of the experience. This acceptance is the first step in transforming stress into serenity. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." This statement is a profound reminder that our stress often arises not from the situation itself, but from our perception of it. If we shift our perception, we can alter our emotional response. For instance, instead of viewing the loud bar as an annoyance, see it as an immersive environment pulsating with life and energy. Instead of getting frustrated with the slow service, appreciate the chance to slow down and enjoy your surroundings. In this way, you can transform a potentially stressful situation into a more pleasant experience. You are not ignoring or suppressing your stress, but merely changing your perception of it. Stoicism also encourages us to live in the present moment. In conclusion, the Stoic philosophy isn't about becoming emotionless or indifferent. Rather, it's about understanding the nature of our emotions and reactions and learning to control them instead of letting them control us. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of Stoicism. Imagine sitting at a bar, drinks flowing, emotions running high. The atmosphere is electric with shared laughter and loud chatter. Amidst all this, You are the calm in the storm, the rock amidst the raging sea. You're not emotionless, but you're not swept away by your emotions either. You're present, in control, and fully engaged. This is what it means to be a Stoic in a bar. If a drunk philosopher can do it, so can you.